Hi, John. This is the webinar that we've been planning to give out to our investors and reach out to a lot of the people we've already been talking to for a little while. And so this is a webinar. This is a presentation for you about a property that we have. It's a little bit of education about the market, the real estate market in RV parks specifically. And then we're also going to do a case study and we're going to talk to you about a property that's specifically real numbers, real property, really happening right now and really open for investment. So we can start it out. I'd like to, first of all, introduce my business partner, John McGaw. Hi, John. Thanks for getting on with me today.
Hello. Thanks, everyone.
So a lot of you have probably already met John. If you didn't know, he's our Chief Capital Markets Officer. And so he is our leader on the side of our company that goes out and raises capital and is able to bring that in and put it towards these awesome projects and make great profits. So once again, thanks, John. Let's go on and talk about this project. Our company is called Paradise Park Ventures. This is our partnership that we use to buy RV parks, raise capital, and buy RV parks. One of the little things we say is a new vacation for the new normal. It's kind of the basis of what really kicked off RV parks is how things have changed since 2020. So the entire, economy and market, we all know has changed quite a bit. In RV parks, it's been dramatic. So we're going to go through a lot of that today. Here's a disclaimer. I'm going to leave this up on the screen for a couple of seconds. This is not financial advice. I'm not licensed to give you financial advice. I'm telling you about an investment that we have that's available. It's a case study. It should either be used for your education, and you should get your own professionals to review any documentation before you begin any investment ever, including this one. So that's the disclaimer. Here it is, the bottom line up front. This is a project that's called Paradise at the Lake, Big Bass RV and boat storage. So we've got an RV park. We already have the boat storage built. Here's kind of like I said, the bottom line up front. We're working on raising $5 million, technically 4.975750. The offering that we're doing, this is what we're offering out to the investment community, you the investor. We're going to give you 65% of the equity. That means the cash flow and the sale of the property. So you're going to get 65% of that. Plus the first year, whenever we're not even making money from the property yet, we're already going to go ahead and guarantee a 3% return because we do have a little bit of income from that storage, that boat storage that's already on the property. After that, after we get done with the construction, after that first year, we're going to bump it up to an 8% preferred equity. That means the first money that comes in of the cash flow, the top, that goes to pay off that 8%. Then after that, 65% of the cash flow goes to the investors as well. So 65% of the cash flow, 65% of the sale, and 8% off the top every month. Commitment. We're asking for a 5-year commitment with a sale expected in 5 years. So one of the things we talk about is having a 3 to 5 year to when we'll start to begin to refi. So instead of doing a sale, it's altogether possible we might do a refi. And the only reason we would do that is if we're in a lending environment that really benefits you, the investor, and we have a fiduciary responsibility to you to get you the nice high return. And one of the ways we do that is by getting a refi instead of a sale, so that whenever we distribute that actual green dollars to you, actually get that money in your bank account, you don't pay tax on it because it's not income. That's debt. Whenever we take a refi and we give you, that's the proceeds of a loan. It's not income. So it's not taxable. So that's one of the nice little tricks that we do that helps out our investors and helps them really have a nice high return. So speaking of high returns, go ahead, John.
Yeah, an expected asset value at a 10 cap is $13 million. Right now, it's hard to find a property that pays a 10 cap. So we're very conservative on this number. A lot of people would love to have a 10 cap. And the expected monthly income, we have it as $110,833 a month.
That's right. And so speaking of how profitable it's going to be, these are the numbers that have been provided by our third-party consultant. So we have a professional RV park unit mix consultant and financial consultant. So he goes and does the feasibility studies, the market studies, and the projections. 6-year projections that we use and we go to the bank with. And so these numbers that we're showing you, we didn't come up with these numbers. We actually did, but we came up with the same numbers, but we put it out to a third party. He came in and verified, and everything that we thought was correct. Actually, it's a little bit better than we thought. The yearly average ROI, 40%. The internal rate of return, 39%. So those are some pretty high numbers. If you're in commercial real estate, you'll know that those are some really great returns. Here are the expected cash flow returns with the 8% pref. So what we wanted to do is show you from if you invest 100,000 in this project, you can expect to, with these projections, make the cash flow plus the pref over 5 years of $57,700. Whenever we sell in 5 years, you should make roughly $97,000. Cash flow plus the pref plus the sale, 154 plus you invested $100,000. $254,700 is the total return for $100,000. And then over here, the total return, you can look down and see the same for 200,000 is 509,400, and 300,000 invested gets back 764,100. Anything to share on
Yeah,
this slide, John?
and these numbers don't include if we happen to do boat rentals, since we are on Lake Fork, which is the #1 bass fishing lake in Texas. It doesn't include the sales from our store, if we have store items, or if we have packages for boat fishing with outfitters. It doesn't include that. This includes our 67 RV spots, 8 cabins, and 32 boat storage that's 100% occupied right now or rented.
Yeah, these numbers we actually they're about as conservative as we can possibly make them because we didn't even include all of that stuff that John just talked about, all the ancillary revenue, which is significant. So these numbers are extremely conservative. Let's start to look about what's happening in the RV park industry. Baby boomers are calling it quits. They call it the Great Retirement or the Silver Tsunami. So the big story that we've been talking about is 74 million baby boomers are retiring. It's 10,000 per day or 70,000 every single week. Now, 10% of those people, they own a business. If you look at the greater economy, about 50% of the small mom and pop businesses throughout the entire country are owned by a certain age bracket, that's the boomer. And so as they're retiring, a lot of those assets, those businesses are coming up for sale. Well, we've found a certain business, a certain niche in business that's not just 50% owned by the boomers, it's 80% owned by the boomers. So whenever we're making calls and we're asking to buy these properties and asking, are you interested? It's almost everyone that we talk to that is in this age bracket. And so a lot of them made the same decisions 20, 30 years ago, and they're in the same situation now, which leaves a lot of product. Those are RV parks that are out on the market that are coming up for sale. They're not being passed down to the kids because the kids don't want to have a brick and mortar business. They want to have a digital business. And so we want to have a brick and mortar business because we know how this business works. It's really not even brick and mortar. We're renting parking spaces. So that's what's kind of going on in the industry.
And also, right now, not just the silver tsunami is RVing, it's the biggest growing group of RVers are Gen Zs and Millennials making over 100,000 a year. So that's also a market that we target to our renters or the people that come to stay in our parks.
That's right. So whenever I met up with John and we met up with Stephanie and we wanted to look at building RV parks, buying RV parks, from the very foundation, we were like, well, let's figure out what are the problems in the industry because we don't want to just build any old RV park. Everybody can buy an RV park or build one. What's going to make ours special? What are we going to do that's going to differentiate ourselves in the market? And so we came up with these problems that are happening in the market. So this is what they are. RV parks are fragmented mom and pop style businesses right now. About 80 to 90% of them are fragmented. They don't have any kind of operating procedures and they have these old business practices. So what that means is if you have old business practices, you're not keeping good records, you're not keeping good tax records, all that kind of stuff. So that means that the next problem comes into play. no institutional money. A lot of people want to try to believe that they can sell their RV park for $10 million and it might have a value close to that, but they have no idea how to prove that value. They don't have the records, they don't have the operating procedures. What they have is a piece of property with the infrastructure of an RV park that we know how to make very, very profitable. They know how to run it and barely make enough money to keep surviving. And that's what a ton of them are doing. And that's why there's so many in the market for us to go and find and choose only the best ones, only the ones that really fit our very specific, very narrow buy box. One of the other problems is that the owners don't use online booking. Online booking is probably the most important change that's happening to RV parks in the past probably 10 years.
Yeah, I'll talk
80%
to
of
that.
the people who are using RV parks, the buyers, the customers, 80% of them only book online. But 80% of the RV parks don't have online booking. They have some sort of a website with just a picture of a phone number, and you have to call and you have to leave a message, and then somebody calls you back and you can make a reservation. And this is very, very, very common in RV parks. We think, well, everybody's automated. Isn't everybody automated? Well, no, they're not. That's where we found this niche. We found this nice little arbitrage we can get in there and pick up these properties for a good price and turn them around and make them very, very profitable. So the other thing is owners don't use dynamic pricing. Dynamic pricing is whenever the rate increases per the demand. So as we're getting closer to an event and there's a ton of demand for places to stay, or if we're staying close to a really big tourist attraction, like say we were next door to Disneyland, whenever there's a big rush, there'd be dynamic pricing would push up the value of our lots. So the owners that don't use dynamic pricing are just leaving money on the table, and we don't do that. Also, the owners don't reinvest in the asset. We do. We go and we raise capital. That's what we deal with folks that are investing in it, and we reinvest back into the asset. So the
Yeah,
big
I'll
thing with
talk a
people,
little bit.
go ahead.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of stories about owners don't book online, and also they don't send text messages. We booked a place that was just a phone call, and we got there, and I thought, okay, which place did I book? I couldn't find the place. There was no email, there was no text message, and I'm looking through the web, and I couldn't remember where I booked. It's just a phone. It's just a phone number to dial. So it took about 45 minutes because the place I was going had a lot of RV parks. And to Alex's point, all these software, and our software also texts and it emails them so you know where you're going, and it keeps those emails for next time, or special when we run special offers, it sends those out too.
Yeah, that's right. So all the regular marketing and good business practices that are common across most businesses are just not very prevalent in RV parks. So it really makes it easy for us. They say in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Well, being in RV parks, it kind of feels like we're in the land of the blind because a lot of people are just not even doing the basics. All right, let's see what's on that next slide.
Okay.
So those were the problems. This is the paradise solution. What we offer is express check-in, point of sale management, recurring billing, auto pay, additional revenue streams. Let me talk about that for a second. I mentioned it a second ago. The asset class that has the most amount of ancillary revenues and the biggest amount per month of ancillary revenue is RV parks. So ancillary revenue is like if you were multifamily, that would be washing machines, or if you paid for special parking, or if you paid for an upgrade for a dog park. Those would be um, the upgrades and the additional revenue streams. We can have fishing poles, life jackets, kayaks, golf carts, firewood, fire pits. There are tons of things that go along with being in an RV park, especially whenever you get into like there's special toilet paper that needs to be used in your RV so that it doesn't mess up your little sewer system. And there are special hoses that wear out every, year or so that if it breaks, you're going to need to buy a hose and you're going to need it right now or else you're not going to have water and you're not going to have a toilet and power. So if anything breaks or any little tiny things that you need, it's very common to go and you buy those at the store. And we've got a captured audience and they've got a real specific needs and we have what they need. So those are some of the additional revenue streams. And they
Also,
can go ahead.
yeah, also, I've done quite a bit of RVing myself, and I have loaded up the camper, got everything put away, and then left either a hose out or a septic tank connection or something and gone to the next place or on the another weekend and said, looked in my storage and it's not there. So this happens quite often that people leave things behind and they need to purchase new ones.
That's right. And there we are to help them out.
Hmm.
So this is a little bit of what's happening in the industry. So like we were saying, 2020 really kicked this off. A lot of these numbers started there. The numbers have continued to increase. These are some of the most dramatic increases. So we've got these noted. 600,000 units produced in 2020. That means 600,000 RVs got built and sold. Well, in that same year, Ford put out 700,000 F-150s. As the most popular vehicle on the road in America, the F-150, 700 of those were made in the same year. 600,000 RVs were made. So think about that whenever you see an F-150 on the road. That's how many RVs are out there. Thor is the largest producer. They had a humongous year, 100% increase in 1 year. 100% increase in their sales in 1 year. RV has been around for a ton of time. 50% increase. They had a $1 billion year. They had a 33% increase in earnings per share. So really giving some big returns to their investors. ARVIC, this is probably the most important one. The American RV and Campground Owners Association, they estimate that 53,000 more new RV sites need to be constructed across the nation, and that's just to keep up with the current demand. And the demand is growing.
And another thing with those new RV spots is that the work from home now is 400% more than it was before the pandemic. And we've talked to someone who's doing a market research about things that are changing after the pandemic. That's one huge thing. And now that people can work from anywhere a lot more than before, people are choosing to buy an RV and travel as long as they still have internet and work remote. One of the big things that we do for our parks is find the fastest internet or build it in to our parks for these type of remote workers.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. And it's one of the big advantages that we have with being up on technology and being up on current business practices. So here's the property that we're talking about. This is Lake Fork. It's 90 minutes east of Dallas, Texas. It's the number one bass fishing lake in Texas. A lot of people say the best in the country. Um, 60 plus bass fishing tournaments per year. And the top 14 tournament trophy bass records came out of Lake Fork. The top 14, 1-4, top 14 of
14
them.
of Texas.
Yeah, so it's a really special place and people are drawn to it. Any kind of fisherman, if you're an angler and you're into fishing at all, you know about Lake Fork. You know it's a really popular, amazing place to go get fish. So 60 tournaments per year, what does that mean to us? That means there are tons of people who are coming to the lake to go be in these tournaments. Well, how big are the tournaments? Well, they give away about $200,000 at each one of these tournaments. One tournament they're giving away a truck, another one they're giving away a boat, another one they're giving away two boats. So these are big time tournaments, big trophy prizes, and people come from all over to go compete for these prizes. Discovery Channel broadcast it. The CBS Sports Network broadcast it. Skeeter Boats, that's the biggest bass boat kind of producer. They have their big tournament out there. They're the big fishing tournament. That's a big one. And like I said, there's 200,000 in cash and prizes. And with 60 per year, that means that there are every week at least one tournament happening out there at the lake. So it's a big
Yeah,
draw And it's a big reason that people go there. Go ahead, John.
And not only that, some of these guys come out weeks before to find places they're going to be able to catch the bass and before the tournament. So they come out and they check out the lake, they go around, they find their honey hole, and then they come out for the tournaments. So if they don't make, especially the big ones, they'll come weeks before, months before, every weekend and say, okay, this is where we're going to be. I mean, when the cash and prizes are around $210,000, you want to try to win that. So they come out quite a bit to see this is a good spot. Let's fish here.
And there's very little place to stay. So one of the reasons we've targeted on this area is there are very little hospitality, very little housing, and a huge demand for people who want to be there. Here's some of our partners. This is some of the people that we work with. We got a loan cooking right now with the Mint National Bank, Jones Lang and LaSalle, which is JLL, is an international real estate firm. We've had a lot of appraisals and stuff done with them. They're great to work with. I build turnkey RV parks. This is our contractor who builds these RV parks so perfect that they're turnkey. We use Cashflow Portal, which is an investor portal. As soon as you start getting into the investing with us, you're going to be seeing that. You're going to be getting automated messages from it. You're going to be getting personal messages from it. And all of your tax information and all of your investment information and
The
your position in the
K1s.
company, all inside a Cashflow Portal. Pretty neat. Then Ron Beard, this is our consultant we were talking about, third-party outside financial consultant, does projections, market studies, feasibility studies, and any of the numbers that you see in here come from his projections. And so if you want to get a loan from any of the top banks that loan to build RV parks, it's going to be like Wood Forest Bank, Live Oak Bank. I probably name about 3 or 4 more. There's not many. But all of those banks who specialize in RV park building and funding a construction project, they all require a feasibility study and a marketing study. Ron Beard is the top name on all of their lists for that study. So that's where our numbers come from. Here's how we've been marketing. We're on Facebook, Instagram, of course, all the top stuff, TikTok. Here are the special ones. Hip Camp, of course, Airbnb you've seen before. Hip Camp is special for camping, campgrounds and RV parks, and then RV Share. Here's our property. We've already closed on this property. It's 20 acres total, and on that 20 acres is already operating this 32 unit boat storage. Now, these are the biggest storages on the lake. Ours are much larger than anyone else's, and they were the lowest price. We've been raising the price every month since we bought it in January, and nobody is complaining and nobody's moved out, and it's 100% occupied still with a waiting list. So there's a great demand for what we have, and we're excited to build the RV park and let that demand flow over there. This is a car wash that's there on the property. This is being taken out. And this is the 16 acres of raw land. It was a hay field, and it's just 16 acres ready for us to build our 75 unit RV resort and campground.
And as you can tell, we don't have a lot of expense removing trees because there's not many trees. The trees we do have on there we're keeping, and we'll work around it.
That's right. Let me go back and show you this map. Here it is. So this map shows our property and this new state park that we've been talking about. So the entrance to the state park is right about here, and the actual park is right here where the water is, right underneath the T. Here's our property. So about half a mile away. So as you notice, there are no other roads that get here. So if you're coming from the south, you're going to come, and you're coming from the north, which is where most folks are coming from through Sulphur Springs, they're going to be coming right past our place. But either way, you're going to be seeing our property. This is
And
the
we are
state park.
we're just half a mile from this state park entrance. So just walking distance from this huge state park entrance. And this state park has a pavilion that's 8,600 square feet. It's got 6 simultaneously or side by side boat ramps. So when they do a shotgun start on these bass tournaments, everybody can get in the water pretty quickly. And the docks there are 30, I think they're 30 feet long. Restrooms, they've got place for power, to uh, heat your food. They've got 120 extra large parking spots for your truck and your trailer, and it's on 900 acres.
It's pretty amazing spot. And as you can see, I've got the picture that's pulled up here. These 6 boat ramps that John was just describing allow them to just load people in at a really kind of an amazing rate. There's not usually 6 boat ramps next to each other. Most places you'll see 2 next to each other, having 6s. They really want to get a lot of people in there in a short amount of time so that they can do that thing that John was talking about, that shotgun start. So imagine if you had these tournaments spread out throughout the entire lake. You'd be starting from different places all the time. Now everyone can gather together in one place to start, one place to have your weigh in, one place to have your barbecue after, the picnic, the celebration, the vendors. And so all of that is set up to have these tournaments. The entire place is built to host these tournaments and events, these fishing events. There's some details up here on about the specific. It's right here on Highway 154. It's Big Caney, and that's the name of the bay. So that's the name of the park as well.
Yeah, and it
Here's what our
opens
great
this
lodge is.
year, 2023.
Yep, that'll be open in 23. So here's our great lodge. These are just some of the architectural plans of what we've been working on. This is what our RV park is going to look like, laid out over top of an actual photo from above. So we've got the entrance here right off of Highway 154. These 2 buildings will be gone. You can curve to the left and go up into the boat storage. So you go to the right and you go back through a nice long entrance into our RV resort. Right away, the first right is going to take you into, we call it pod number 1. This is the roundabout that are the cabins. 8 cabins right here. You've got some parking so that people can go to the Great Lodge and check in. Here's the pool. Some more of the amenities are in this area. There'll be a large retention pond in this area. These are called pods also. And one of the neat things we've done is we've created inside of here buddy sites. Most of the time when you go to an RV park, everybody lines up the same direction so that everybody's doors are on the same side. Your door is at the back of somebody else's RV so that you're not opening the door into each other's front yard. Well, some of these, they flip around, they call them buddy sites. That way, say you and your friend or family or a large group are together, you can have patios that are back to back to each other. So we found that to be a really great thing that the customers love.
Yeah.
Here it is again. This is the same design, and this is just on a white page so that you can see it without the land behind.
Of course, and there's a road entrance on the front and on the back of our property. So there's a ingress to that.
Here's some of the details. We can go over this in more detail if you want to get on a phone call with us, or if you just want to pause the video and look at this, we'll let you go through these details. This is the unit mix, how we've got it split up. And once again, we've got this unit mix coming from our professional consultant who specializes in unit mix. And here are some of the costs and distributions. We're planning on 133,000 monthly revenue. We're going to keep it at about 26% cost percentage. We're going to pay the management company, and we're going to have about $100,000 NOI per month. We expect to sell this in 5 years. So we took some numbers and looked at it and did an 80% occupancy. So say in 6 years we were at 80% occupancy, which is pretty conservative. We should be closer to 90, 95. But say we were at 80, this would leave us with a yearly NOI of 1.3 million. So that's a yearly net. And this yearly net is what we use to calculate the value of the property. A lot of times in retail real estate, where it's like you're buying homes or you're flipping homes, which is what most people are really familiar with. They use comps. Comps are that's what you use. Whatever the property next to you sold for or something close, that's going to help determine the value of your property. Well, in commercial real estate like this, we don't do that at all. It's very different. We look at how much money the property makes. All of the value of the property is based on how much money it makes. This one makes 1.3. We apply what's called a 10% sales cap or a capitalization rate, so a 10% cap rate. And this 10% cap gives us a $13 million valuation. I'll point out one last time, these are not our numbers. This comes from a third party consultant that we hired to look at our deal and tell us how much money it would make. And this is what he came back with. So, like I said, we were trying to find something to be something different. We looked and found some problems and some solutions. And so, this is the paradise difference. 80% of the owners don't offer online booking. We do. 65% of the customers, it's more like 80 now. We've seen some new studies. They choose the park solely based on booking online. So, the 20% of RV park owners who book online are getting 80% of the customers because they only book online. So one of the things I say all the time is it's very, very simple. If you have online booking, you're full. If you do not have online booking, you are not. And so we use online booking. 90% of the current owners do not use dynamic pricing. So even the few that do use online booking, most of them don't use dynamic pricing. Dynamic pricing is shown to double yearly revenue. So this is how we are able to get the really high numbers. Is first of all, we charge those good prices. We do the online booking, but we don't just buy any RV park anywhere. Proximity to some kind of a tourism or a draw, that's a must. Water is really great, a lake, a river, ocean. If you're going to be next to a casino, a college that has big, huge football games, or maybe there's some festival that comes every 2 months or every month, and 60 or 100,000 people come to that area for that festival. That's a huge amount of demand, and that large amount of dynamic pricing increase can make up for other times it might be kind of slow. So these are a lot of
Yeah.
things we look at whenever we're getting into a property and we're projecting how much it's going to be making. One of the other things we do is we only look for places that we can value add. We don't want to go in and buy somebody else's park and just keep running it. We can run it better. That's one style of working commercial real estate is saying, I see you running an asset. I think I can run it better. I'll buy it from you, run it better, and make more money and make it worth more. We do
Yeah,
that,
there's
but we
another.
also go ahead, John.
Yeah, so another thing I'd like to mention is that the difference between a single family, I've got a lot of experience. I used to do single family apartments, senior living. I've done some trailer park deals. But when it comes to, say, single family, there's a lot of management. If you're managing them yourself, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and you're always working. You're getting calls on the weekend for refrigerators or AC units, heating, or whatever, clogged toilets. Now with the park, it's a lot different. You know, they're carrying their own house with them, so those problems are a lot fewer. I've also had some apartments that caught on fire, and with this, there's not a whole lot to burn, right? So if somebody's RV catches on fire, they just move it out of the way. Um, so that's another reason we like this industry is because it's a lot lower in maintenance.
Yeah, we say that there's about the same amount of income as other assets, for example, multifamily storage, the same amount of income per unit, but about a third of the cost because no building. You're essentially renting out parking spaces. So this is what we call the Paradise Pledge. We took our mission, our core values, we took all of that and we rolled them into one thing we call the Paradise Pledge. This is how we run our company. We have a paradise purpose. Our purpose is we provide a home away from home while our guests escape their everyday lives. That means that we're not short-term housing, we're not low-income housing, we are hospitality. We're travel and hospitality industry. And so anyway, that's the way we approach it, and that's what our purpose is to be providing this home away from home. Paradise Properties. We create properties of lasting value using superior design and amenities. One of the big things that we've paid attention to are the high-end hospitality brands, the Ritz-Carlton, the Four Seasons. We've been studying their how they deal with their people and how they deal with their properties. So a lot of what you're going to see from us comes from the higher echelon of hospitality. We follow and mimic their standard operating procedures because it's obviously working. They became the top and the best in the world for a reason, and so we're taking notice of that. Paradise People. This goes back to the same thing I was just talking about. We did a lot of research on these high end, upper echelon hospitality brands, and what we found out is people make the difference. You know, people make the paradise, so we build up our people to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. one of the things we do is we have a commitment to reinvest back in our people, in their health and their education. Paradise Profits. We thrill our capital partners with investor focused technology from the very inception of our company. So, right when John and I met, the very first thing, one of the things we talked about was that how important technology is not only on booking, but also on raising capital and dealing with our capital partners. Because whenever we take investors, you're trusting us to take your money, go invest it for you, and bring it back for a nice, healthy retirement for you. So we're working to improve your retirement. And as we do that, we've plugged in this technology to get rid of some of your frustrations. Like if you need to get your tax forms, your K-1s, if you wanted to know what your position was, if you wanted to know what your equity in the deal was, all of that is automatically calculated in our software and available to you in an investor portal. So you can actually click on any time. 3 o'clock in the morning, you're awake and you want to know what your position is. You can click on, look through the portal, look through any of your tax documents. It's all available to you all the time. The last one is Paradise Places. We bring paradise to the communities we build in and community in the places we build. So what this means is we have a focus on the community that we're going to be building in, and we don't want to just come in and kind of like run roughshod over any community officials or anything like that. We have an outreach that we've donated to. So we donate to a charity called Bike the Blue, and this charity is specifically to buy bikes for bicycle cops in tourist areas. Well, bicycle cops are usually in tourist areas. Tourist areas are where we like to build. And so it's really a great way for us to give back to the community, give back
Yeah.
to the leaders in that community, and say we ever had a problem, we had to call the police. They know who is donating bikes to help them out. So anyway, that's a nice little thing that we do for the communities and we build it. Anything on that, John?
No, that's good. Yep.
So here's the team. That's who you just heard talking. That's John McGaw. He's my business partner. He's our chief capital markets officer. The way we've set up the company is to run as co-CEOs. John handles the capital markets side. And so he's really been excellent at that and has a tremendous amount of experience and success in that field. And so we're real happy to have him doing that. That's John McGaw.
I've
Here's
been
me,
an
Alex.
investor.
I'm sorry.
Go back to that other one. Let's
There you go.
tell a little bit more about my
Cool.
background. So I've been an investor and in real estate for 20 something years. I've built and sold homes in Grapevine and Euless. Went on to buy rental properties in 2000 and 2002. Had a bunch of rental properties, sold them in 2007. Somehow I missed the crash, which is great. Started buying in 2009 again. And then the market just got a little crazy. And in 2017, sold my portfolio and went into commercial. And I like it in commercial. I've done some apartments, senior living, and trailer parks. And then I just decided to just go all RV parks. It kind of mixes that trailer park and that, residential and commercial all together in one. So you can be, if your park needs to be at the low end, sort of like a trailer park or manufactured home park, you can be there, but you can also make those changes real quick to hospitality or somewhere in between. You're very versatile when it comes to an RV park, and that's why I like that space or this space.
Good point, John. Let's see who the rest of the team is. There's me, Alex Alexander. I've been investing in real estate since about 2005 and did a whole bunch of stuff in Vegas before I went over and got started in Hawaii. And that was kind of where I made my bones and made my kind of claim to fame, buying a lot of properties over there. I've still got 56 that cash flow. And one of the real big advantages that I've found and been able to bring over in RV parks is this technology advantage. So I have 56 properties in Hawaii. I haven't been to Hawaii in about 2 years, and I concentrate on that business about 30 minutes every month. And so this technology has allowed that company with only 30 minutes a month of input from me to make around $20,000 to $30,000 every month, and it's been doing that for 3 years. And so this technology focus we bring over into the RV parks, and you'll see that as we've been talking about. And that technology is run by this lovely lady. This is Stephanie Culver. She runs Buzzworthy Property Management. And so she's who is where the rubber hits the road. This is who people actually talk to. This is who does the marketing. This is who does the accounting. This is all of who our customers are going to go through her and all of her technology and her software and websites. And so we're real thrilled to have her on board as well. Here is the last slide from us. This is our contact information. I'm Alex Alexander, John McGall, my business partner. You can reach out to either one of us. Like I said, this is an open investment. This is open to invest. You can go to paradiseparkventures.com, paradiseparkventures.com, and you can actually invest right there on the website. So right on the website, there's a page called Portfolio. The very first thing you're going to see is Big Bass RV and Boat Storage. And so right there, you can click Invest Now. That'll take you right into the investor portal we were just talking about. We can either walk you through it or you can go there on your own time and check everything out at your own pace. We've got subscription documents. That's the operating agreement, the private placement memorandum, the subscription docs. Everything is already done inside the website for you. And so this is the investor portal we were talking about. You can even go so far, if you wanted to, from this call, you could click on paradiseparkventures.com, portfolio, invest now, and you could have your investment into this and get your portion of this great return.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Look forward to hearing from you soon.
Bye-bye.